today's fast-paced economy, having a side hustle has become a necessity and not a luxury. Well, despite the South African economy's recent positive shift, with unemployment rates decreasing to 32.1% in Q3 of 2024 and 294,000 more people employed, reaching 16.9 million, many still struggle to make ends meet. We are caught in a cycle of constant striving where earning a living has become a relentless source of stress and anxiety. But what if you could break free from the cycle and achieve financial freedom? On today's episode, I'm joined by Willem Gous, a startup mentor and the author of a book titled Side Hustle Success, a Low-Cost, Low-Risk Way to Make More Money in 5 Easy Steps, who will share the ultimate blueprint for turning your passion into a profitable side hustle.
Thank you for having me. A side hustle is just a second income. I like to use a side hustle to frame it as most people are too afraid to start a business. But if I go, hey, what about something on the side? It calms their nerves. What I like about a side hustle, low cost, low risk, and it's easy to do. And your success is, the success of the side hustle is determined by you. If you want more money, if you want a way to express a skill or produce something, it's all up to you. It's your business. But the main purpose of it is to generate more money. And if it doesn't do so quickly, then kill it, get another one.
So how does your teachings differ from what's already available in the entrepreneurship market?
I'm glad you're asking that. You know, last month I was invited by UNESCO to speak at their 10th annual meeting on entrepreneurship education in Uzbekistan. And what I found right through the startup industry education and what I spoke there about as well is you have to understand that entrepreneurship development is actually two separate things. The one is business development and the other one is human development. And most people leave the human behind. Basically, it's like me building the fanciest car on earth, not developing an engine and having a donkey towing it. And that's what we're doing. And we should shift the focus from the business to the individual. So I famously say in my company's brochure, I don't teach people to fish, I make fishermen. And it's about helping people develop the mindset to become an entrepreneur. Because so many people, books, speakers, and politicians tell people that only a select few people can be an entrepreneur. And usually I don't take kindly to that. I see entrepreneurship as a learnable skill, just like leadership. So anybody can do it. And I've seen the evidence of that in my work in South African townships.
Take us through your book, and you've written 5 steps of becoming a successful side hustler. So what are the key points that you have written within this book?
5 simple chapters. The number one thing is, why are you starting this side hustle? Simple. Most people do not have a clear idea why the business is being started. You know, if you are short $5,000 a month, how might you then create something that gives you 7,000? The second chapter, and the shortest chapter, is how to start the side hustle. It's the easiest thing to start a business. You basically you sell a skill or a product, and if you don't have a skill or a product, get somebody else's. Sell it for them until you can develop your own. And then the third chapter, my favorite one, finding customers with money.
Yeah.
There's a lot of customers out there, but not all of them have money. And then a great one, the fourth one, is how to overcome fear, rejection, and demotivation. And the last one is how to build a rhythm of success. And if you look at these chapters, it deals with business, but the bulk of it is dealing with you as the human being. Because your business will only grow as big as your thinking. And if you don't change your thinking, you won't have something else. I always tell people, you can't have something else without becoming someone else. And it's about the development of yourself into that person that has a successful side hustle.
I mean, like, we're living in an environment with a lot of challenges, and what you've just said right now is finding a customer with money. So what's the secret on how, rather, an entrepreneur can be able to find that customer who is willing to pay for the service?
That's a very good question. I found, number one, entrepreneurs do not like doing sales, but they're brilliant at selling a bad idea to themselves. This is going to work, I know this, but then it blows up in their face. And the best way I like, people go like, social media, this, in the beginning, avoid that, because you need to get to know your customer. So I like B2B. You know what B2B stands for? No. Belly to belly. You go and you talk to people. You know, so I have a new thing that I'm taking my entrepreneurship education into corporates, getting people in corporates to think like entrepreneurs, and we're doing it exceptionally successfully. But what I did is I reached out to CEOs, COOs, and people go like, hey, how does this work? What are you struggling with? So I actually had interviews with my customers and talking to them about that. But here's the thing, I was prepared to ask the difficult questions. Most people will ask questions of a customer that will only make it succeed. I ask questions to go like, you know, what would make this fail? And they go, oh, this is a good idea. I go, I don't think it's a good idea. What makes you say that? I think you're missing something. So if they can prove to me that my business will work, then I'm onto something. But if they can really just break it down, and then I go, okay, cool, how do I fix that? So it's about having those conversations, and it's difficult. So, and then also to ask for it. I love using relationships and dating as a metaphor to describe business. You know, and marketing is simple. I go like, hey, how you doing? But sales is a difficult thing. That's when I go, may I have your number? Yeah. And that scares people. And you have to step into that tension of dealing with that. Because if you don't learn to step into that tension, and I deal with that in the book, you will never move past what you have currently.
So which sectors or industries do you see a growing trend of people into entrepreneurships?
That's a very good thing. If you look at my work in townships, beauty, hair and beauty shops are just salons in townships, are just, they print money. That type of stuff. Food also does well, but now with the latest scare that we have, it's not a good industry to go in. If you look more at your white-collar workers that are starting a side hustle, and this is an interesting thing, just a sidebar. One of the big insurers did an SMME and side hustle report in 2023 October, and it showed that 60% of employed people that they interviewed said they want to start a side hustle in the next 12 months, while only 10% of them have it. And with your more white-collar workers, it's usually selling a similar service to what they do at the office. Obviously, you need to go through that process, or usually they have the luxury of having a hobby, and that they then turn into a side hustle. So it differs depending on your economic position in life.
Yeah. And lastly, just before I let you go, can you share a rather simple step-by-step plan for a successful side hustle? And rather, how much can we estimate can a person begin to become a side hustler?
Well, it's quite simple. Decide what you want this thing to give you. You know, if you want 50,000 a month, selling small things for $1 a time might not be the right product or service that you're going to do. So get clear about that. And then that can give you a judgment if you're barking up the wrong tree or not. And then it's going and finding the customers. I always tell them the biggest failure of entrepreneurs is they buy the bus, and you shouldn't buy the bus. What I mean by that, imagine I want to start a tourist company. What most people do, they borrow money and they buy a bus and they have no tourists. They're like, well, you have debt. Yeah. Instead, find the tourists. If you can fill the bus, hire the bus. take them on the tour, and if you can fill the bus consistently, consider buying the bus. So avoid buying the bus, get the tourists first, and that's the quickest and safest way to reduce your risk and increase your chances of success.
And lastly, are there any testimonials that rather a reader has rather read your book and they have made rather successful side hustler on their own?
Oh yeah, quite a few have done that, and even from the United Kingdom to South Africa, because this was actually written for Africa and developing economies. It's simple and straightforward, and it's targeted at schools, universities and communities, but also making it accessible to the larger public. To add to your opening comment, people are still struggling. Last year, media reported that 76% of South Africans don't have money at the end of the month. So the best thing you can do is to start a side hustle today. Start with $1,000 a week, 2,000, 3,000, and work towards that. It is the simplest, easiest, low cost, low risk way to make more money.
Well, thank you for joining us on today's episode on Africa Side Hustle. And that was Willem Gous, the startup mentor and the author of a book titled Side Hustle Success. As we conclude today's episode, remember that Africa's entrepreneurial spirit is unstoppable. Turn your passions into profits and join the movement. Share your hustle story with us on social media using hashtag Africa Side Hustle, and let's build a community of innovators and game changers. Don't forget to subscribe for more entrepreneurial stories, and for more business news and insights, you can visit our website on cnbcafrica.com. Till next week.